Closed captioning for Vantage Point Outdoors is brought to you by Woody Sporting Goods. Bob's Custom Calls. Handcrafted game calls made in the USA. And by HME Products, a better line of hunting accessories. Just found the doe that I shot last night. Hello, I'm Chad Taverny. I want to welcome you to Vantage Point Outdoors. On this week's show, we're going to have a look back at yet another doe kill of mine from last season and some great encounters I had during last season. And we're also going to give you an in-depth look at the new Moultrie M80 XT trail camera. We're going to start off today's hunt with yours truly in a northern New York tree stand on a wet, snowy November 3rd. About 2.5 hours after first light, this doe and spikehorn came working down a little narrow pinch that I call Swampy Bottom. Well, after this morning's hunt and first-hand observations, there was no question that the pre-rut was in full swing. Now, although I cut the video short for show purposes, this doe and spikehorn were around my tree stand for well over an hour, which just goes to show you how critical scent control is to a successful hunt. little doe and spike-horn were within 50 yards of my tree for over an hour. And that doe is definitely either in heat or she's going to be coming into estrus very soon. That little spike-horn is following her like a lost puppy dog. And about 8:30, they came in just like we hoped they would from this tree stand. There's a swamp here, and there's a ridge about 80 yards to my west. And right at the bottom of the ridge, there's probably a 30-yard wide little funnel that these deer seem to want to travel on. And both of those deer came right down through here, and they were just grazing in this old briar patch down here in this swamp bottom. And this is a great spot. Yeah, I tell you what, if that buck would have been a couple years older, we could have had it done here the morning of November 3rd. Now let's take an in-depth look at the new Moultrie M80 XT. Alright, well here we are. Today is, it's Saturday, February 23rd, and I'm going into my farm here to check my Moultrie M80 XT trail cam that I put up back in the middle part of January. So this camera's been up for well over a month, and that's about the amount of time I like to keep a camera up in order to do a first review, especially during the winter months here when there's some really cold temperatures, and you want to give those cameras a month or so so you can test your battery life. We're going to come in here, check this Moultrie, check the battery life, see what kind of pictures we got, and we'll break down this camera and we'll let you know if this camera receives the Vantage Point Outdoors seal of approval. Alright, now in order to get this review, I put this trail camera up in a real narrow pinch point in between a ridge top and a big swamp here. And there's probably about a 50-yard wide little pinch that these deer like to travel through. I've got dozens, I got literally hundreds of pictures over the last couple years of deer traveling through this little funnel area. So I figured this would be a great spot to put this camera up, get a lot of activity, and really see what this Moultrie is capable of doing. Alright, well I just got to the camera and I opened it up and it was reading 82% battery life, and indicates that this camera took 33 pictures over the last month and 2 weeks. So when I got here, the camera was up and operational, and it appears that this camera functioned properly the whole time it was here. The Moultrie M80 XT is a 5 megapixel infrared flash camera that operates on 8 AA batteries, has an effective night range of up to 60 feet, and claims to get over 1 year of battery life. The camera shoots in 16:9 aspect ratio, which is very handy when monitoring pictures on an HD television or computer screen. The M80 XT also has a hybrid plot watcher mode, which is great for monitoring food plots or other large areas which are difficult to monitor with your traditional trail cameras. Another very intriguing mode on this camera is the fact that it shoots high quality video. The M80 XT also operates on an SD card like most trail cams today, and I personally recommend using a 2 GB SD card or higher. This way here you can leave your cameras up for several weeks or even several months and not have to worry about your SD cards getting filled up with pictures. Now, although on this first test of the Moultrie, we didn't have a ton of deer activity come through this area, the pictures that we got were very crisp and very sharp. Alright, well, my initial impressions of this Moultrie M80 XT trail cam are that it is a very good trail camera, seems to get excellent battery life. I think that only using 20% or so of battery life over the course of a month and a half, considering the fact that we've just been through some pretty darn cold temperatures here in northern New York, pretty as severe as you could expect anywhere in the country. So the camera gets outstanding battery life. I'm sure the pictures are good. They're 5 megapixel. The camera's got video mode. It's got a burst mode. It's got plot watcher mode. I'm going to get home, put the card in the computer, and see exactly what these pictures look like. But I'm going to wager a pretty safe bet that the pictures are going to be outstanding quality. And for the price point that I paid for this camera, I really don't think you can go wrong with one of these Moultries. I'll be interested to see exactly how this camera holds up over the long term. It's only been out for a little over a month, which isn't a long time, and I'm going to continue this test and see how this camera works over the next year, 2 years, and really see if this camera is going to be a good long-term investment. But my initial impressions of the Moultrie M80 XT are extremely positive, and without question, the new Moultrie M80 XT gets the Vantage Point Outdoors seal of approval. Now we're going to head back to one of my northern New York farms on November 4th for an afternoon hunt. Alright, well, here we are, folks. Today is November 4th, evening hunt. It's about 2:15. Just got in this tree stand. As you can see, we have a light dusting of snow on the ground. Hopefully the deer will be up on their feet moving early. Temperatures are cold. It's in the low 30s today. I saw a lot of deer movement this morning on a different property, and hopefully the deer will be moving on this property tonight. Now, although this ladder stand is only 15 feet off the ground, the fact that I'm hunting in such a thick cedar tree allows me to pull off this low tree stand setup. Well, as is often the case in northern New York, where hunting pressure can be intense, we saw very limited deer activity until about 20 minutes before dark, when this group of does came working up along the edge of the logging trail. Well, once again, here's a prime example of why self-filming is so difficult. My movements in trying to capture this deer on camera resulted in her seeing me. Now I was just hoping that she wasn't going to totally alert and spook the rest of the deer. Boy, as a whitetail hunter, nothing will put you on pins and needles any more than a stare down with a mature whitetail. I'm trying to balance my required movements to keep this deer on camera, and also trying to balance keeping myself in position to make the shot should she present the opportunity. Well, this mature doe stopped broadside 25 yards in my shooting lane. All I gotta do now is make the shot. Well, we had a group of, looked like 3 or 4 does came in, and I didn't see any bucks come in with them. So it's getting dark. We've got probably 10 minutes of shooting light left, and I still have 2 doe tags in my pocket. So I went ahead and took a shot at that mature doe. She was standing right here, probably maybe 20 yards from the stand. Again, I'm still black powder hunting, so with the smoke of the muzzleloader, I couldn't really tell about the hit. I'm gonna give that deer probably 10-15 minutes, get down, see if I have blood, and we'll go from there. Alright folks, well it took me about 10 minutes, but I did find some blood. Got a drop here. I'm going to take the track up and See if we can find her. Well, despite finding a few drops of blood at the initial shot location, there was virtually no blood trail. And with the wet, rainy conditions, I searched for over an hour and was unable to locate this deer. I had no choice but to return the following morning and continue searching. The next morning, even with perfect daylight conditions, I was unable to locate any sign of a blood trail. But after approximately 5 minutes of searching, I was about to be one happy whitetail hunter as I found this deer about 70 yards from the initial shot location. And I think we just found the doe. Here. Alright, there she is. Alright, well here we are. It's the morning of November 5th, and I just found the doe that I shot last night. She didn't go only probably 70 yards from where I hit her, but with the darkness last night, couldn't find her. Me and my father searched for her for probably close to an hour and a half with no luck. Came in here this morning as soon as it got light, and here she is. She didn't go, like I said, probably 80 yards. She's a big mature doe, and she's going to be good eating. And now the real work begins. I got to get her field dressed and get her out of here. And I'm just glad that we're able to find her. All right. Well, I just finished checking that Moultrie camera. I'm very impressed with how that camera has been holding up the last month and a half. And I got a few more cameras I'm going to swap cards in before I head back to the truck, but that's all the time we've got for this week's show. We want to thank you for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time, right here on Vantage Point Outdoors.